Welcome to the station, crew. Enjoy your stay.
Alright, so welcome back to Space Station 14. This will be a round taking place on Wizard's Den Lizard server. As you can see in the little chat log, we're going to be playing as a Paradox clone, a new antagonist that was introduced recently. We're a clone of a security officer. Our goal is to kill them, minimize collateral damage, and take over their life, and survive until the end of the shift. So, as you can see, we have many advantages being a security officer. We have weapons, we have armor, we have access, we have trust, we have authority. But it also means that our counterpart also has those things. Anyway, my first order of business to gear up. Our bag is empty because that's how Paradox clones spawn. I arm up like my usual security officer setup, which would be a tell that I'm not the actual person I'm copying. Also, as you notice, our emergency box isn't the correct one. Doesn't have a security gas mask. Another hint. But thankfully, our clone was wearing their gas mask, so we wear it too. Anyway, now we're pretty much all equipped. So, I think. Okay, I'm almost all equipped. Here we are. So off I go, trying to find my copy and replace them as soon as possible. And as discreetly as possible, though it probably won't be that easy. Since there's not many ways of cloning in the game yet, even though, you know, there's cloning technology, but it's rarely used. There's cloning machines. Paradox clones are pretty much the only way you're going to be seeing clones in a round, which means it can be quite easily meta-gameable, as you'll see later. Anyway, as you can see, they're a bit confused. Since we have the same voice, I can just talk on the radio. Yeah, it's as if we're his long-lost twin. I try and make him arrest himself. We're gonna go to security and talk it out. Anyway, we head there. Might as well at this point. I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit. We just come to an accord that we're gonna be working together. We were responding to a call about an engineering break-in. But people won't stop interrupting us. Like they've never seen a clone before. I tried to go for the Diona Nymph. Never seen a Diona Nymph regenerate before. There's many ways there could be clones, in theory, but in practice, clone paradox antagonists are gonna be the most common. The paradox clones spawn in the middle of the round. Anyway, here's somebody who tries an idea to tell who's gonna be a clone and who's an original. Okay, let's try something.
Attention.
They ask who the first two suspects caught. Now, we've been after hearing about a clown a lot, so I say clown. The original says they arrived later. Meaning, the cadet thinks they're the fake. So now I try, since they think I'm the original, I try and get along with my quote-unquote clone. I try and remind them that they would clone people all the time, but clones, paradox clones, aren't actually meta-shielded, even though I think they should, but they're not meta-shielded. So there's the only way you could covert, hide the paradox clone, is if cloning was more popular. So it'd be hard to try and see which one's a paradox clone, which one's a real clone, which one's a magical clone. But for now, it's gonna be how it is. Anyway, an incident happened. We go to a medical, and we get some orders. Now things are gonna be very confusing. So look at the chat box. I'm gonna tell what the important messages are. The head of security tells us to perma the clown. I don't know why. I don't really care either. I'm not actually a security officer. But on Oasis Station, perma is in space, and you need to use a shuttle to get there. Meaning, it's gonna be the perfect place to assassinate my clone. My original. Anyway. I'm gonna take him to Burma. Whether they're innocent or not. Because it's my assassination plan now. Doesn't really matter what the crime was, doesn't matter what happened. This is all for murder, not to justice. Anyway, we wait for them to get actual medical treatment. We make it to security, me and my original. Now we have to be very careful. We have to only have the clown, plus me and my copy. The less person, the better. The lawyer comes in here. Could be an issue. He tells us this is illegal. It might be. I don't actually know. The lawyer says only a captain can issue exile or perma, which is false, which from that point on means I just ignore the lawyer because he doesn't know the law. We'll just ignore them. That's fine. He probably doesn't command much respect if those are the quality of his arguments. I dismiss the cadet. Now I'm trying to find the best position to assassinate my clone. Which means I put him in the driver's seat. He'll be distracted. The clown tries to escape, which means I get to just stay behind here. The lawyer stays on board. In the background, the lawyer is screaming about trying to demand a trial. The clown never says anything. But he's gonna go ahead and say that the client requested a trial anyway. I take off his comms, take out my gun, and do the deed. All the bullet casing flying everywhere. I think the clown is gonna be our secret. The lawyer thinks we just shot the clown. I tell him I'm gonna let him go at evac because I don't actually know. I don't know what happened. I just got here. They must suggest that he's an antagonist, but I don't care about that. I take over my clone's driving seat. They almost made it to Perma too. The lawyer is screaming in the background, but people just tell him to shut up. That's what happened when you're a lawyer who doesn't know space law. Anyway, I uncuff the clown. Drag the body of my fellow security officer into Perma. I tell them that I killed the security officer that tried to kill the clown. So they drag the body in here. Then they start whispering, so I get suspicious they're gonna rat me out. So I go on the ship and try to leave. It means they have to follow me or be stranded. So they can't afford to talk that much. Also, in the meanwhile, back on station, I'm not seeing that, by the way. I'm not seeing the messages on my radio. I'm only paying attention to what the people in here say. But the security officers have a crisis with botany, meaning they're not going to be paying too much attention. I dock at evac, explain what I did, at least lie about what I did.
Attention.
I let them go. The security goes after them because they think they just escaped or something. I don't know. I go and get the body and make sure to space them. Because I'm worried that they're gonna use a nymph to regrow and rat on me. Anyway, I take the body and space it. Somewhere a bit off the path to Perma. So people aren't gonna be about to run into it. Plus on the radio people keep screaming about arming, about hunting, about bad things happening. So I head over to security and see what's going on. Ooh, also today we're gonna have some music thanks to XCOM, the reboot, the remake. I don't know, the modern XCOM, Enemy Unknown today. So make it to security, and now I'm pretty much gonna try and take over the role as a security officer. Anyway, I try and pay attention to what happened. When a pursuer happens, not sure what they do. I still to this day don't know what they do, but looks like everybody is just ignores them. I can tell them on the radio what it's about. I want to arm in the armory, but all the safes are closed because the warden forgot about it. Classic mistake. So in this situation, when the armory is all closed, what do? Do you stay in the armory? Nah. You go and fight underarmed, of course. Better than nothing. You might just get lucky too. Anyway, people try to flash them, but nothing happens. I try to use a stinger, but I get blocked, so my timing is off. I try to go for the stun. It could be quite powerful if this thing could get stunned, and we could cuff them. Anyway, I get a couple of bolts off, but he's not getting stunned, or losing stamina much. Also means I don't have to watch for friendly fire. The warden is using a cap gun grown by botany, so it's a fake cap gun. Since I'm hurting quite a lot from these friendly fire shots. Anyway, I try to remind them to open up the armory. And specifically the weapons case. So, now the warden's gonna go back. The captain is not aware of the situation. I'm not sure if we're in red alert or not, but if we weren't, now would be the time to turn on red alert. Since we have an unknown threat going after security officers, who's unstunnable it seems. Anyway, now the armory is open, so everybody can arm up. Pick up my favorite weapon, the Lecter. Put on a riot suit to decrease the melee damage of the guy, because it seems like all he can do is punch us. My inventory is a bit of a mess since I didn't have really the time to organize it. Anyway. The head of security tells us to arm up, which for some reason the armory was open before that. The AI tells us the Pursuer is killing people in med. Its target, Eric Rax, got away. Only temporarily. Must have some kind of tracker. I try and alert Cap. And now he got punched, so he's alerted. I try to avoid getting punched. Take out a firearm. And try to take some well-aimed shots. Since we're using cap guns, they should have armor-piercing capabilities, but it doesn't. The guy doesn't seem to be taking much damage, even with armor-piercing bullets. Everything I have starts falling, since I'm not used to the Diona's lack of feet. I hadn't played with many other species before, which is a thing I'm trying to correct right now. Anyway, we try and guard in front of medical, because that was the last location that we heard about. And also that's where the Pursuer went. Also, as you might have noticed, the Pursuer gets slowed down by hollow barriers a lot. There was a hollow barrier in front of security that he didn't try to vault over, instead of trying to force open the other door. Anyway, seems like our the target is making loops around from medical to security, as you can see. So we try and wait for the Pursuer to come in here. Surprisingly, the cadet also has riot armor, so they've geared up properly for this. Anyway, the AI tells us that there's a zookeeper in the cow on the bridge, but that's really not the time. Really not the time to be doing anything about that. And now we enter another bout of combat. Try to hear out for the sound of the Pursuer coming. An easy way to hit your shots with a weapon is to shoot while a person is going through doors. It makes the potential movement quite restricted. Lots of friendly fire going off as we're attacking the Pursuer from both sides. I shoot a civilian, I get shot a lot. We actually do more damage to ourselves than the Pursuer does. As for medicines, the janitor asks us if we're the fake clone. The obvious answer is I'm the more robust clone. That's what you want in a security staff. Anyway, after being shot to heck, the Pursuer doesn't seem to be slowing down any. Doesn't get stunned. Bullets don't seem to affect them much. Anyway, I try to avoid friendly fire, and I get downed. Thankfully, I use the tracker on myself. Anyway, we get slightly healed. People are still obsessed with botany for some reason, when there's the Pursuer that's still around. It's still around. The chaplain asked me how my twin is. So I give them an indirect answer. No, I'm trying to take my plan of trying to take over this person's life as a security officer because it's quite dangerous. And my last goal is to survive. Anyway, we see that the Pursuer's target has been critted near medical. Right in front, in fact. For some reason, things are spaced. Now, I'm thinking about how bullets don't seem to be affecting this guy much. Also, as you can see, the target has been killed. So now, I'm thinking, what if instead of using bullets, I try to go for melee combat? And bleh, he just falls over and dies with one knife. Not sure if that was because they were at low health, if actually killed them, or because their target died. Somebody asked us about flashing. As you see, when we were near the armory, the automatic flash was going off. And somebody tried, and I tried too, I guess. Doesn't seem to be affecting them. Not we can stun them either. Anyway, go back to medical to get treated. When the suspicious mime, standing near our officer's body, I try to keep a close eye on them. See if they're gonna steal anything. When they drop a bomb, I pick it up since I have armor, and hopefully explosive resistance, and I'm a Diona. I think that means I have resistance to explosives. Anyway, we aren't gibbed. The other officer isn't gibbed either, but they are unrevivable. That's the trait they have. Anyway, I just lay low for the next. I just try to not do my job, basically. Avoid risks. And get armed up as much armament as possible. So we make it to evac. And make it to Central Command. So, I think in the end, this means I was the only antagonist who had their objective successfully fulfilled. And also one of the first times on the server, I think, that a Paradox clone successfully replaced their target. Not that people were putting up much of a fight. Anyway, that was a fun little adventure with a new antagonist type. Hopefully you guys appreciated it. And also there was a thing with a pursuer. Not sure how things worked out. Our original saying in the out of character chat that their imposter, they can't believe their imposter murdered them. Anyway, that was fun. Lots of fun, actually. And now we get the classic end of round shenanigans. For some reason, the grills and the windows are quite tanky. Anyway, some giant rats come after us. And we get downed. And we're at peace. And I confirm that I was the only, I think, the only antagonist who managed to do their objective successfully. Interestingly, the mime had the target of the security officer who was almost mini-bombed, but the pursuer did their job for them. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Bye.